Sounds great.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, founder of Peer Guidance. We listen, guide, and connect small businesses, startups, and entrepreneurs. Sharing knowledge and stories is why I started Telling It Like It Is. It is a live show, so if you do have any questions, please ask away. We will answer them. If you're watching this after the fact on another social media channel, please feel free to ask, and your questions will get answered. I want to thank Evolutionize. They are Alberta's mobile optometry clinic. They're a traditional optometry clinic, but they bring their 40-foot Winnebago to you. I also wanted to give a little shout out to my friends at Lighthouse Labs. Woo! If you want to buy my love, just send me a t-shirt. I tell you, Kurum and Alan, the guys down there, thank you very much. I am a cheap buy, that's for sure. So thank you for the t-shirt. But getting to today, Kevin Dahl is my Telling It Like It Is. He's an advisor at Platform Calgary and an entrepreneur. Kevin, thank you for joining me. And how are you today?
I'm happy to be here and fantastic.
Oh, no, I mean, I always like talking about how we met because networking is so important. And I had a meeting with Andrew Brown at, I believe, that Rosso down in the TELUS Convention Center. And you're kind of sitting there, and he reached over and he goes, "Oh, you guys should get along. You're both Saskies." And guess what? Here we are.
Yeah, it's the Saskatchewan connection. You know it's going to be good when that happens.
Isn't that the truth, right? It's like we didn't know each other. We have mutual friends, but I mean, here we are, and probably a year and change later, and I'm pumped for our conversation.
Yeah, I can't believe how time has flown since that first opportunity to meet. A lot has changed, a lot of new exciting stuff happening, and looking forward to chatting with you today.
Oh, I know. Let's speaking of that, let's get at her. I'll give a brief introduction of you, Kevin, and then away we go. So he's a geek at heart. He loves technology and is fascinated by its impact on society. His background is peppered with senior roles in business development, sales, project management, product development, operations, and HR. He started building companies while studying at the U of S and continued that entrepreneurial drive, jumping into a startup right after graduation and never looked back. He's currently working as a community builder and advisor at Platform Calgary, and he also started his recent startup is called Evrywork. And I think it's really good, and obviously there's a lot of publicity now with WeWork opening here, and we kind of talked about that a little bit. I was maybe a little hard on a reporter about saying maybe you should give some of the local guys some love, but why don't we briefly touch on what Evrywork does?
Sure. Yeah. Happy to chat about that. So Evrywork's a social co-working platform that helps connect people who are interested in co-working to co-working spaces that have open hot desks. So we essentially have several different co-working places who have signed up on our platform, who have available desks, and we allow our users to, through one membership, access spots across Calgary, now into Edmonton, Whitehorse, Toronto, and Kitchener-Waterloo.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, I think it's such a great idea. I know when we talked about it, saying there's so many open spots, and I think the number you told me was over 30 co-working spots just in Calgary.
Yeah, we're the third largest market for co-working in Canada, behind Toronto and Vancouver, and it's really exciting to see because if you've ever worked in a co-working space, you know the energy and the community that sort of is being built there, and I think it really is the future of the way people work.
Well, I agree. I mean, I think it's really neat. I think it's you guys have done a great job. And if anybody ever wants to check it out, just click on the comment section, everywork.com. It is in there. It'll take you directly to the website. So again, serial entrepreneurs sharing your knowledge, and that kind of rolls into what you're doing now. Not only are you an advisor there at Platform, but you've walked down that path many times. So, they offer very, excellent programs, especially the Junction. Can you please share how they help entrepreneurs?
Sure. Yeah. So did you want me to talk about Junction first or some of the other programs and then kind of dive into
let's talk about Junction first.
Junction? Sure. So Junction is a program that is offered through Platform Calgary. It's focused on first-time founders. So everything that we do at Platform is focused on building, tech founders and the tech community in Calgary. And Junction really was born a couple years ago by a lot of people who, like myself at Platform are, serial entrepreneurs who have been through, the highs and lows of starting a business. And we all had that little nugget of, if I could only go back in time and tell myself what I know now, I could have avoided all these mistakes. And so actually Kevin Franco was kind of the main architect behind the Junction program. And that's really what he built it on, is how can we take all the knowledge that we've learned of being multiple founders and impart that in a first-time founder so that when they come out of our program, they actually have the knowledge and in a sense, the experience of a serial entrepreneur. And so the Junction program is a 4-week program. It's really intense. It's 20 hours a week. We have programming every day. Excuse me, as I'm losing my voice. We have programming every day through that program, about 20 hours a week. And it really starts out the basic fundamentals of, what it takes to start a business, how to move your idea into a business. And then we cover everything from, the basics around, how do you put together projections, making sure that you know your customer, understand the pain, all that good stuff. And also making sure that we're weaving in programs and I guess discussions around founder wellness, because that's something that's often overlooked when it comes to the early days of starting a business. So helping our cohorts of first-time entrepreneurs take care of themselves and make sure that they're well and that they are able to go on and build that company and create that culture and continue to grow. So that's kind of a bit of a ramble. I think I covered most of the basics. I think the goal at the end of the program is that, people walk out, it is technically, we almost refer to it as like a prep school for entrepreneurs who want to apply to accelerators. We're not an accelerator, we're a pre-seed incubator. And our goal is to prepare the entrepreneurs at the end of the program to take whatever step comes next. That may be applying to one of the local accelerators or maybe one of the global ones. It may be talking to angels and trying to raise a seed round. It may just be going out and executing, going out and hustling, building the business, bringing on customers. Whatever they need to do next, we hope to have them ready to go at the end of the 8 weeks, which is a very short time period to cover all these different aspects.
No, absolutely. And I've actually, worked with some of the people that have come out of there, and it is great. And everybody that I have talked to just absolutely loves the Junction program. And I'm the one part that I actually didn't know was the focus on the mental wellness side of things, because that is important. It is so important for these guys to realize that there is a community out there for them. They do have people to talk to. They aren't alone. And that is, that can be a really stressful thing for a solopreneur and entrepreneur. So how does somebody go about applying for the Junction program, and maybe please share some of the requirements needed?
Sure. Yeah. So Junction program, basically it's a program, like I said, that runs 8 weeks, and we run it 2 times a year currently, and we're looking to ramp that up over time. But right now there's 2 cohorts per year, and you can apply online at platformcalgary.com. The requirements in terms of being able to qualify, we're looking for highly scalable, growth-oriented companies. And I'm purposely staying away from tech, because a lot of people know Platform Calgary and some of the previous names and iterations of the organization as focused solely on technology. But really what we're looking for now, every company in the world today has tech in it. So you're either tech enabled or you have a tech product. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to scale, if you're a scalable company, then we have tools, and we feel like the Junction program can be valuable for you. If you're more of a small business that you look to grow, but you're not looking to scale globally, then we have some great community partners that offer programming that's probably a better fit, and we'll direct you there. But in terms of qualifications, so if you're a scalable company and you're looking to apply, then really all that the minimum requirement is that you have some sort of a minimum viable product or an MVP out in the market, and you're engaging customers. Some companies, I think we were talking about this before, Jade. Some companies are a little bit further along. They've got revenue. They've got several customers. Other companies have just kind of launched some early tests, some MVPs, and they're learning from customers. And that's what we look for as sort of a minimum baseline. And the reason is if you're not talking to customers and you're not engaging them, then everything that we're going through in Junction will be very academic. You won't be able to apply it. And so what we do through the program and why we look for people with MVPs is that we're able to talk about the theory, and you actually go out and apply it, that day or that week in your business. And then you engage with us as the advisors on the program on how it's going. So the MVP is the baseline. And I should mention too that the program is global. So it's not just companies in Calgary, Alberta, or Canada. You can apply from anywhere in the world. This cohort, we have 15 companies, 3 of which are from outside of Canada. So we've got one from France, one from Nigeria, one from Iran. And, we usually have a few companies applying globally that get in, and they want to come to Calgary, get immersed in the Calgary tech market and industry, and really try to set up a base here in Canada. So, that's kind of what the process looks like. It is, applications are rolling. So for example, right now we're in week 2 of our current cohort. I believe the website right now should already be live for anyone who wants to apply for the fall program, which will start kind of September, October timeframe. So you can apply at any time. And everyone who applies will get a phone call or a face-to-face meeting if you're in Calgary, because even if you're not a fit for Junction, we want to connect you to someone else in the community who can help.
No, and I love that, and I mean, I've been part of that connection from you guys, and it is great. Again, I'm talking to Kevin Dahl, an advisor, community builder at Platform Calgary. You can just go into the comment section. Their website is right there. Click on platformcalgary.com, and it'll take you right there. So, I do. The Junction program is awesome. I love the fact that it is a worldwide program, and companies want to come to Canada and Alberta and really focus on growing here. Now, let's touch a little bit on some of the other programs that Platform has to offer. Say, if they're not in the Junction program, please share how you can help some of these small businesses.
Yeah, for sure. So Junction is probably the most intense program that we offer in terms of focus and duration. But we do have several different programs that kind of span from, early stage in the journey all the way through to, companies that are now kind of what we would call a scale up. So on the earlier side is where I'll kind of start. So we have 2 programs that I'll touch on today. One is called the Summer Internship Program. We've ran it for a couple years now, but this is the first year that we've kind of morphed the program a little bit into something that I think is really cool and I wish was around when I was in university. Basically, if you're in school, you can get paid to work on your startup over the summer. And so we're working with RBC and also with Platform, and we've essentially created a paid program that pays you to work on your startup instead of working at a typical summer job that's probably not going to help you scratch your entrepreneurial itch. So basically that program is a 4-month program over the summer. You can apply individually or as a team. So if you have, a co-founder, both of you can apply, and basically you get paid $1,500 a month over the summer to work on your startup. So you're not living glamorously, but you're able to pay the bills, put some money away, and focus on your startup idea, and hopefully that helps you become more entrepreneurial as you continue down your path in life. So applications are open for that right now. So if there's any students who are watching or listening, check that out. It's a great opportunity. In previous years, it wasn't paid, so you could get into it. But this year, we're now able to offer this for any student in any post-secondary in Calgary, and I believe actually all of Alberta.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, I really wish that was around when I was in university. I would have been all over that. The next program I want to touch on is our Discover program. So for those of you familiar with sort of the lean startup methodology, doing customer discovery and validation, this is really focused on entrepreneurs who are early on with their idea, or they've maybe launched something and it's not going well. customers aren't calling them back, people aren't buying, it's not working. The concept of customer discovery is all about talking to customers to understand their pains, the jobs that they're trying to accomplish. And this program is really geared around entrepreneurs, helping them understand this concept of talking to customers without telling them what you're doing, so that you can learn from them and then be able to apply that and test it using minimum viable products and other tactics after the initial conversations. By the end of the program, it's a 4-week program where there's essentially one session per week. It's about 3 hours per week. And, you're going out, talking to customers, coming back, sharing what you've learned. We do a little bit of education, a little bit of coaching, and you go back and talk to more customers. So it's a great way for you to go from, I think I know my customer's problem, to I know the problem and how I can solve it. So that's what that program is really geared towards.
No, that's that. I just love the programs, and I truly believe. I mean, Platform is such a pillar in the community, and you've got such good people there to share your knowledge. And I mean, I just love it. I just the more I hear about it, the more people talk about it, the more people that come through your programs that I'm lucky enough to meet just have nothing but the highest praise to say about what Platform has done for them, not only as a person but as a business.
Well, I can take very little, if any of that credit, because Platform has been around for a long time through several different, names and iterations. But, the programming that I've talked about here today is all a result of looking at it and saying, how can we build the community? Where can we help? Where can we fill a gap that's in the market in terms of getting more people into entrepreneurship or getting more entrepreneurs on the right path to success?
And I think that's the one thing that I love, and I mean, even the one thing that I focus on with Pure Guidance and our team is really making sure that these entrepreneurs, these startups can become small businesses. These small businesses become medium businesses. They start hiring people. If they want to rent office space, they get office space. But everybody's starting to grow and grow and grow. And I mean, this is a long-term plan, a 20, 30-year plan. But if we can get 15 to 20 businesses a year expanding on a regular basis, before you know it, we're going to have a lot of new startups that are viable small businesses and might be taking some of their product globally.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really like, it's like a perfect segue into a little bit more about Platform Calgary and the big vision.
And that was our next question. What's next for Platform? So here we go.
Well, yeah. So, I think the vision for Platform Calgary, the thing that is sort of our guiding principle, the thing we're aiming towards, our northern light, you might say, is the northern star, I should say, is that we want to take Calgary from where we are today, which at any given point in time, there's about 200 startups operating in Calgary. So startups is kind of a fuzzy term. I won't get into all the definitions, but companies that are in revenue making money, but aren't big scale ups that have hundreds of people. So there's about 200 startups at any given time in Calgary. And our goal is over the next 10 years to actually take that number from 200 to 1,000. And I'll admit, when I first heard this vision from Terry Rock before I had joined Platform Calgary, so Terry's our CEO, joined a couple of years ago and has kind of been, helping us get very much good clarity around like what we need to do here in Calgary.
Another Sasky, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, another Sasky. Like I said, good people just come from. The big vision, when I first heard that, heard Terry talk about that, I thought, okay, going from 200 startups to 1,000 in 10 years, like, surely we can do that in like 3, maybe 4 years. Like, why can't we just turn up the knob?
Sure.
And then after actually looking at, some of the indicators and some of the building blocks that need to be in place in order to achieve that, I realized why it's a 10-year vision. It is, and it's an optimistic 10-year vision as well, because a lot needs to change. The reality is, if we get to 1,000 startups operating at any time in Calgary, we'll be, I think it's within the top 10 or even the top 5 most innovative, cities in the world. We'll be up there on par with places like Singapore, Amsterdam, and so in terms of the density of the number of startups per capita.
Yeah.
So it's a lofty goal, but I think it's the right goal for us to set in terms of getting more businesses going. And like you said, of those 1,000 startups, a lot won't make it, but the ones that do are the ones that contribute to the local economy, the ones that grow globally. They create jobs, they create GDP, and it's really it becomes that new economic driver. And we worked a lot with Startup Genome to put together and kind of benchmark Calgary to other cities around the world and other tech ecosystems around the world. And if we achieve the 10,000 startups, then we will have the tech ecosystem and the startup ecosystem as a major contributor to economic growth in Calgary. And that's where we all want to be.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even it's so good to hear that type of a vision and that type of a BHAG goal, because I think it is achievable. I would even say, I mean, even it should be viewed as a province, as Alberta as one, not even a Calgary thing, right? That's just me. I know I'm personally trying to change my lingo to say, you know what, it's fun to have an us versus them when it's the Oilers versus Flames, Ask Stamps, whatever it is, right? But as a community, I'm even having a hard time saying Alberta over Calgary, and I really do. The more I start to dabble up there and talk to people, it's becoming more of a reality faster than you think, and people are really starting to work together in this province to say, hey, here we're stronger together.
So Platform is part of a new initiative called the Alberta Corridor, and so we're working with Tech Edmonton, and there's a whole bunch of other players that are coming together to say that, because that was the other thing that came out of the Startup Genome benchmarking, is that we've got 1.2, 1.3 million and change here in Calgary. Edmonton, right around 1 million, I believe, plus or minus. If we look at even combined, we're still a smaller market than Montreal, definitely Toronto, Vancouver, right? We need to work together and play to both our strengths. We don't need to both have strengths in the same place. Let's leverage, Edmonton and their AI, and some of the great things happening there. Let's not try to replicate it in Calgary. Let's try to make it easy for companies in Calgary that need that to get it and to leverage that, right? Let's work together. And, the Alberta Corridor, you're talking about the Hyperloop that connects both cities. I mean, there's all sorts of interesting conversations going on around how we can work closer with Edmonton.
Yeah, and I'm starting to hear that, and I love that. I just love that.
And I should say, not just Edmonton, right? It's not just about the two cities. There's a million people in smaller towns as well, right? We want to, make sure that all Albertans have access to, the right programming, the right advisors, coaches, mentors, to be able to grow their businesses. And so, not just the two cities, but but by connecting the two, that's a start, right? That gives us a base to now build on and expand that across, all the other cities as well.
Absolutely. I agree. So the last question I always ask, I kind of want you to put your own personal hat on. I mean, you share your knowledge and your advice with students and startups and people obviously on a daily basis. But if you had one piece of advice for an entrepreneur, startup, or small business, Kevin, what would that be?
Just one?
We could probably do a whole segment on it, another 20-minute interview.
You know what? I would say that the most important thing, or the biggest piece of advice that I would give an entrepreneur, is get comfortable with failure. And the reason why I say that is that failure isn't actually a failure if you learn something from it. In a few different books, people call it validated learning. You will you're going to have unknowns from all sides when you start a business, right? You don't know your product, if it's going to work out. You don't know the pricing. You don't know the market. You don't know which customers are going to be your early adopters. You need to start testing, and you need to be able to do that in a way that you can test something. And if it fails, you learn from it, and then you test something again. So when I say failure, it's not about, just failing in general. It's about, taking an approach, a very lean approach and an iterative approach to your startup, and saying, you know what, I'm going to put together a hypothesis, something I want to test. I'm going to put it out there into the world. And if I validate that it's true and my hypothesis is correct, fantastic, I learned something.
Yeah.
But more often than not, you're going to prove yourself wrong. And you oftentimes you learn more from being wrong or having a failed experiment than you learn from an experiment that actually is a positive. So, fail fast, make sure that you are constantly, learning from those failures. And I think, in my career, I've had, some moderate successes. I've had a lot of failures as well. And I definitely look back, and where I've learned the most was always in the failures and how I reacted and how I pivoted or iterated, whatever term you want to use, to take the knowledge that I gained from that failure and to do something new.
No, I love that. I mean, people always, it's such a negative, derogatory word, right? But in the end, as you said, if you learn from it, that one or two, three failures could be the difference between you becoming a success in the future.
And, I think there's the quote, and I think it's attributed to Wayne Gretzky, is you miss 100% of shots you don't take.
Yeah.
And it really is true, right? If you're too afraid to take the shot or to try something, then that's a failure. But if you try and you miss and you keep practicing, you get better, or whatever, we want to stick with that analogy, or we jump back over to startups. That's what leads to successful entrepreneurs is trying, failing, and not being afraid to try.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I can't thank you enough, Kevin, for, sharing your time, your knowledge, with our guests today. And I truly believe what you guys do over there platform is going to make a difference, and getting to the 1,000 startups running at a time every year in Calgary is achievable. So again, thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing these sessions, because again, the way we get to 1,000 startups is we all need to be talking about it. The more people talking about it, sharing stories, and seeing interviews on your show, I think it's going to lead it will lead people to know that there is a community here. They're not the only crazy one who wants to quit their job and start a business. It's okay. It's good.
It's okay.
You should do it. And talk to Jade. He'll help you, connect you into the community, right?
And there's lots of people, as I say, you're not alone, right? Asking for help's not a sign of weakness. And there's so many people out there. And I say this almost weekly on the show, that it's one of the most gratifying things I see in the entrepreneurial community here in Alberta, is that the willingness from everybody to help, anybody that has a question. And I love that. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
There's no trade secrets. It's not like big corporate where you're hush, 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 NDA, NDA, NDA.
We have a culture of helping here for sure. And that's one of our strengths. That's one of the things that, we can build on.
I agree. Excellent. Again, Kevin, thank you for joining me today. If anybody wants to check out Platform Calgary, you can just go to the comments section, click on the link. Again, a co-founder of Evrywork, which is a co-working co-working space here that you're able to rent desks at all different types of places. You can click on the link there. Again, Kevin, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Jade.